Hi everyone, Anthony Monteith here. We're looking at hormonal balancing using Qigong. I wanted to give you a little insight into the reasons why we're going to do the exercises that we need to do and some of the areas we need to focus in on. Hormonal balancing is critical in everybody, and in fact, if you study the ancient Qigong methods, a lot of the ancients would have talked about the essences of the body, nourishing the essences, the Jing, the Shen, the Qi, the three treasures. And to me, hormones fall into the essences bracket. So they're like, some of them are like raw fuel, like the oil of the planet, and some of them are refined, more refined, a little bit like petrol or diesel, or those kinds of refined essences. We use them for fueling the body. So adrenaline is an example of a hormone that can really drive our heart rate, can really help us fight stress. Too much hormone imbalance, too much adrenaline causes an imbalance and causes us to then fall into ill health patterns. So in Qigong, we look primarily, today I want to talk more about female hormone balancing because there's very little information readily available to women apart from through their own research on getting through the menopause efficiently, healthily. It is a process that you have to go through, but if you can go through it a lot smoother, then it leads to less symptoms and a better quality of life ultimately. Hormone balancing, the major organs we need to focus in on are actually the spleen. Now, the spleen in Qigong and traditional Chinese medicine is the organ that transforms and transports fluids in the body, particularly fluids extracted from food. So we can kind of think of it like the pancreas. In fact, the spleen and pancreas have a very similar function, but Chinese would consider this as falling in the realm of their hormonal patterning, if you like, or their differentiation. So one of the key aspects we find is you need to treat or nourish or improve the spleen. So we see that a lot of women these days are consuming foods like sweet yams, sweet potatoes, and foods like that that are naturally high in phytoestrogens, with the idea of being able to reduce the symptoms of menopause. Pancreas, we need to be careful with our sugar intake when we're going through menopause, ladies, because anything that spikes insulin, which is another hormone, can cause a reaction, and we do know that it can be an issue for women to have a sweet tooth or a savoury tooth, but especially going through this reaching for things, the bad foods, can be an emotional thing, but it can also be a craving for energy, often a sign of mineral imbalance within the body. So we have to be very aware of supporting the function of the spleen and pancreas. The liver also, I'm very strong, if you're going through the menopause, I'm very concerned about how clean your liver is. The liver is always detoxing. Your body is the most incredible detoxification system in the world. And a lot of people go off and they do detoxes, juice detox, all these kinds of different detoxes. But really, and that's fine, I have no issue with that, but your body can detox all the time. What we want to do though is keep the liver clean, keep it functioning. So I love dandelion as a herb, it's phenomenal. What do we call it? Milk thistle as another herb that's very good. But in the Qigong methods we use, we want to keep the liver. Why? Because it's the filter of the blood. Filtering the blood makes the uterine blood better, will reduce stagnated blood in the uterus, reduce pain as you're going through the change and you're having to shed away the lining of the uterus during the change. We also want to really focus in on the kidney. The kidney is, in Chinese medicine, a regulator also of temperature, and often this idea of night sweats, hot flashes is this inability to regulate body temperature. The kidneys have a huge involvement in our growth, in our development as an adult from teenage years onwards. So the adrenals are considered to sit on top of the kidney. These two are involved, we know. Our adrenals are part of our hormonal system. They link in very strongly. Kidneys, ovaries and testes are very strongly linked energetically in Chinese medicine. The Chinese have a joke that the testes are the outside kidneys. So nourishing this is very important in our work. The kidney has, in Chinese medicine, a link that affects thyroid and parathyroid, and also the kidney nourishes marrow in the body, bone and marrow. And the brain itself is considered almost like a fatty marrow tissue, and within the brain we have the pituitary. So by nourishing the kidney, we're leading to this indirect decalcification and improvement of the pituitary gland. The pituitary is a regulator. It can measure levels of estrogen and progesterone in the bloodstream, etc. So the Chinese kind of knew what they were talking about. So we're going to begin with a form called the Toad Qigong, and that's going to go directly to looking at uterus, ovaries, nourishing that, and the adrenals as well. It's a simple Qigong, takes maybe 8 to 10 minutes to do. I'll run through that with you, and it's a lying down Qigong, so it's very restorative, restful, very good for calming the system down. And then we'll go to a standing set, and I will use a style of Qigong which is based on inner alchemy, and it's called the water method. And the water method is very good for nourishing the kidneys. Kidneys are kind of a foundation energy. Kidneys like water, and water will nourish the liver. Liver is considered wood, okay, this element of wood. So we're indirectly affecting this, and then we're going to do some work with the spleen, pancreas. We will find some of the hormonal imbalances cause bloating, cause this heaviness, growth, and then bloatedness after certain meals. The trick is to get through the menopause. We want to try to knock out 75% of your symptoms. You're always going to have some because you're going through a change. You are taking hormones out of your body, especially out of the ovaries, and breaking them down through the liver. And that energy being released is like rocket fuel, and it has to go somewhere. So the exhaustion is caused by the stress of that change, the loss of the extra ovarian reserve. Interestingly enough, with the help of artificial hormones, you can go right into your 60s and still have a baby. It's been proven the uterus will continue to work, but stress on the body is huge. So your body has a natural clock. For some women it's mid-30s, for others it's mid-50s before they go through what we call the change. Interestingly, if you get through it effectively, it's called a second spring, and you can continue to go on to have a good libido, a good sex life, and rejuvenate these essences, this water energy. We want the water method because often during the change we lose extra water in our body. Well, not necessarily water, but we lose bodily fluids that we can use for sexual function, for example. And so by nourishing the kidneys, spleen, pancreas, we can get this body fluid moving and regeneration of tissue. So we're going to pause the video here, and then we'll go to the table and I'll show you the lying down Toad Qigong. Okay guys, so no, I'm not taking a nap. This is the beginning of the Qigong. Typically, we talked about spleen, liver, kidney, thyroid, parathyroid. So, I begin either on a yoga mat. You can do this on your bed. This is quite solid, so I have a bit more stability. But I lie on my right side because it's bringing blood to the liver. I then take my right hand and I bring it over to my throat, between my jawline and my collarbone. And this hand sits on the side of my pelvis, here where the gallbladder meridian is. This sits into the throat, and we create a circuit because my feet are touching. My tongue sits on the roof of my mouth, and I breathe only with my nose for a cycle of 9 breaths. I can close my eyes. My breath is concentrating on the whole belly, not the chest. So the breath is coming evenly through the nose and out through the nose. And I'll repeat this 9 times. And I'm noticing any sensations in this hand and this hand, whilst keeping the knees and the feet together. After 9, what I'll do is I'll gently roll onto my back. I should take this pillow away. Try to get myself aligned. And then, if you can, where possible, bring the soles of your feet together, toes together. Okay? For the ladies, we have thumb and finger together, and I make a diamond shape around my belly button. For the ladies, your little finger should sit approximately to where your ovaries should be situated. There'll obviously be individual differences for everyone. You may notice a lot of heat in the palms of your hands in this position. And then what I'll do is I'll repeat the 9 breath method, keeping my elbows in. My wrists are relaxed. I'm focusing in on my little pinky finger, breathing in, breathing out. Notice my chest does not move, only my belly. Again, it's in through the nose and out through the nose. If you have high blood pressure during menopause, bring your tongue to the bottom teeth. If you have normal blood pressure or low blood pressure, keep the tongue and the roof of the mouth behind the front teeth. And I'll cycle this for 9 breaths. After 9 breaths are completed, I'll bring my hands up in front of my chest here, palms facing each other, hands relaxed, breathing in, slowing down, opening out my hands, and this is opening out my pericardium, heart channels, releasing any heat in the body. And I'll hold my hands off the floor, so you almost want to be touching the bench or the floor, but not actually touching. And with a controlled movement, bring the hands back up. You may feel the hands very heavy, sensation of the arms going through mud or honey, or you may feel none of those things, but that idea that it's actually quite hard to move the arms slowly and mindfully. And the palms reach the center, facing each other. I'll turn them to face downwards towards my feet. Breathe in and let the hands go soft Taking my time, not in a rush. This opens up all this side of my body, the spleen and the gallbladder channels, the heart channel, helps to release heat out of the body. Also fantastic rehabilitation for and prevention of frozen shoulders, which can be an issue during menopause for some women. Obviously, you'll do these movements within your range of motion. Again, I'm not touching the floor, but I'm going as low as possible before breathing in and rising up. Taking my time to rise up, pulling up. You should feel a real weighted heaviness as you come back up. And these movements, if I was to speed them up, would be like this. So it's a very open, closed, getting flow. But for the purposes of this exercise, I want you to do them very, very slowly, very mindfully. Don't go too fast with them. I want you to build control of your movement. And you can repeat this set again 9 times. We choose 9 because it's 3 times 3. And it's this idea of heaven, man, earth, heaven, woman, earth, and repeating 3 times to integrate. Once we finish that cycle, we may do 9. So opening here and opening here is 1, opening here is 1, so on and so forth, 9 times. When you come to your 9th one, which will be to here, you then draw the hands back into the center, around your belly button, and breathe into the hands 9 times. Nose in, nose out. Feeling the sensation, elbows relaxed into the... You can be on a yoga mat doing this if you wish. When you get to the 9th breath, you're going to slowly bring your knees together. And then you're going to turn onto your left side to nourish the spleen. But you're going to bring your knees up higher to your chest. And you're going to bring your hands, cross them over your chest. And you're going to breathe, and imagine as you breathe into your belly that your lower back here is, you're breathing into your lower back, even though we know physiologically with a lung that's not possible. The sensation is you're trying to open up your lower back. And the reason for this is having the intention from my mind to my diaphragm to my lower back is creating an opening and closing of the lower back. And this area is very important. It's we call this area the Ming Men, or the gate of vitality, and it nourishes your kidney qi. And then after 9, take your time once you've completed 9 breaths and try to get yourself back up into a standing or seated position. And then what we'll do is we'll pause the video now